Hey guys, are you planning on traveling to Vietnam on touristic purposes, or you plan on being teaching and settling and working in Vietnam? Hey, if you're a foreigner, there are certain things that you dare not do, touch, or say in Vietnam. If you do these things, they are going to get you behind bars or even get you incarcerated. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to this video as I unveil most of these things that you should never do. Please don't do these things in Vietnam. Hey, are you planning on coming to Vietnam as a tourist, or even you even plan on coming to settle down to work as an expert teacher, as a consultant, as a teacher, as a lawyer, whatever in Vietnam? Hey, there are certain things that may be permitted in other countries that sometimes they may overlook it, or even other times they wouldn't mind you, but in Vietnam they take it so serious. If you want to have a peaceful life in Vietnam without going behind bars, these are the things that you must avoid. Avoid this thing for your own peace of mind and for you to work and enjoy yourself in Vietnam. Number one is about drugs. Vietnam hates drugs of all forms, especially if it's going to be used. Drugs are illegal for everyone in Vietnam. According to the Vietnamese Criminal Code 2015, stems, leaves, branches, flowers, marijuana fruit or coca leaves, dry poppy fruit, and fresh opium fruit, heroin, especially cocaine, methamphetamine, amphetamine, MDMA, opium resin, any other narcotic substances, whether in solid or liquid form, are considered drugs in Vietnam. Now, the act of producing, storing, transporting, buying, selling, distributing, importing, exporting drugs are considered criminals and subject to punishment. I have seen people in Vietnam go behind bars just because of the fact that they caught them in a certain act, and when their blood samples were taken, they found drugs in them, and these people were incarcerated. They were punished severely. So guys, if you are somebody who likes to use drugs, not in Vietnam, don't be found using it, don't be found possessing them, because if you do, that alone can lead you into a big trouble, either a penalty, either a fine, or incarceration. Take note, if you're on drugs, whatever kind of drugs that you are on, that in Vietnam they are strictly against drugs of any form or any factor. Number two is carrying dangerous weapons like guns, sharp knives, or anything that can harm anybody. Carrying it in public, either through the customs or wherever, if you are found, you can be arrested. And that is one of the reasons why Vietnam is one of the safest countries that you can think of. Hardly will you see even the Vietnamese carrying knives or guns or whatever. Same or so for you, the foreigner. Guns, explosive weapons are strictly prohibited in Vietnam, and never carry them in public or in your own chambers. Number three is prostitution. Prostitution is strictly illegal in Vietnam. In Vietnam, police conduct random searches for prostitutes, and when these people are arrested, they are put behind bars and they can be punished. If you're a foreigner, do not engage yourself in prostitution in Vietnam. Although you can see many girls sexually seducing you, whether on the internet or in person, for you to have sex with them and pay them. If you do so, you can be arrested and prosecuted. Take note that offering money for sex in Vietnam is strictly prohibited and against the law. If you do not pay, because if you pay, if you give money in exchange for sex, that is termed prostitution in Vietnam. However, if you're able to find a girlfriend who loves you for you and you do your own thing, nobody has a problem with you. But if it turns out giving money in exchange for sex, that is a serious thing. And as a foreigner, you don't want to get yourself in that soup in Vietnam. Now, some of them also engage in illegal activities. They engage themselves, or they present themselves as prostitutes, and they will take you to a hotel. What they do is they plan with gangsters or gangs in these hotels. And once you run into them, or once you run into the hotel room, the gangs will just rush into you, take whatever belongs to you, or your possessions, I mean your money, your things, take it from you. And if you go and report it to the police, you yourself will get arrested and get yourself behind bars. So anytime you are in Vietnam, be careful of beautiful and sexy ladies, especially those who parade themselves around hotels seeking to be prostitutes, seeking to have sex for you in exchange for money, or seeking to take you to somewhere. These people can put you in a great danger in Vietnam. Now, another thing which is common in other countries but restricted or strictly against the law in Vietnam is pornography. Now, in other countries, people really don't mind, people don't care. I mean, you can have pornographic materials either on your phone or on books or on materials you carry. But in Vietnam, it's strictly against the law. Parading or having pornographic materials on your phone, if you are caught, can be arrested and punished. And if you are also caught selling any pornographic books, things, violating and sexual content, remember that these things are highly against the Vietnamese culture, which is held sacred in Vietnam. If you find yourself distributing, having pornographic materials or violent materials, either in books, in pens, in magazines, you can be punished severely for this. If you're a foreigner, make sure to avoid yourself being caught in any of this pornographic materials. And if you are traveling to Vietnam for the first time, make sure you delete all of these materials, because if you're not fortunate and it is seen at the airport or by immigration, you can be deported at that instance. Another common practice that you may want to avoid in Vietnam is speaking against Vietnamese national heroes. Now, this is very common in other countries. In other countries, you are free to criticize your president, you are free to talk at your national heroes that you don't see why he has. But in Vietnam, this is strictly prohibited. Now, this is one of the rules which has gotten a lot of foreigners incarcerated in Vietnam. And there are a lot of ways to go around this. Example, speaking against the statue of Ho Chi Minh, Vietnamese Communist Party. Speaking against them equals to speaking against the country. This may be weird, but trust me, this is one of the reasons why Vietnam is very peaceful and a loving country. So the next time you go out and think of talking anything, in fact, avoid talking politics in general in Vietnam. Don't engage in political stuff. Don't talk about political stuff in Vietnam. If you came for tourism, just go have your fun and go back. Now, another weird thing is that in Vietnam, the legal drinking and driving age is 18 years and above. Meaning, if you are less than 18 years above, you are not supposed to drink or even drive. And that is not all. That is not all. Even when you sell drinks to Vietnamese or people who are less than 18 years, you are still going to be in trouble. And so they are saying that in Vietnam, it's better you don't engage, you don't drink with people you think are under 18 years. And they advocate that if you're a foreigner and you look smallish and still want to go buy and drink, then you should keep your passport to prove or to show that you are really above 18 years as a foreigner and that you have the right to buy and drink and drive in Vietnam. Else, you can find yourself paying a fine before you even show proof of it. Now, another fascinating thing in Vietnam is having sex or getting married to a Vietnamese girl who is less than 18 years. And this is serious, especially if you're a foreigner. It's difficult to determine that this lady is less than 18 years. Now, what happens is that most of these ladies sometimes will pretend to be hookups, and when you have sex with them, then they will start now blackmailing you with it and trying to report you to the police. If you fall for them, they can report you to the police, and that can get you into trouble. And Vietnamese ladies now also have big bodies. They have big bodies, you understand? So sometimes if you're a foreigner, they can lie to you. So always make sure that you know the ages of ladies you'll be laying in bed or you'll be going out or you'll be drinking with. Because if you don't find out the true real age, and it happens that you are being reported or it is found out that you slept with somebody less than 18 years, you are going to be in a big trouble as a foreigner in Vietnam. Now, the irony of it is that if you are caught as a foreigner having sex with a Vietnamese lady who is between the ages of 13 to 16 years, you can be imprisoned for 1 to 5 years. However, if the lady reports that you rape her, you can spend up to 5 to 7 years behind bars. This is what some of the Vietnamese ladies use against foreigners. And so they tend to have a sexual act with you. They record it. Some of them can record it or can have a way of videoing it. And then they try to blackmail you. If you don't fall for their blackmail, they report you to the police as having raped them. And if care is not taken and proper scrutiny is not done, you can be arrested and be behind bars and sentenced from 7 to 15 years in Vietnamese prison. One odd thing is also that a foreigner cannot share the same hotel room with a Vietnamese lady in Vietnam. If you are a lady, if you are a foreigner in Vietnam, you cannot share the same hotel room with a Vietnamese lady. However, some hotel people overlook it, but if you are arrested, this can get you into a great trouble in Vietnam. All of this, always remember that in Vietnam, there is freedom of speech, but nobody can guarantee you freedom after speech. And stay careful and take good care of yourself. If you haven't subscribed now, why don't you subscribe now?